This is the smallest, cutest, and wettest deer in the world. Yes, this beagle-sized cutie is actually a South American rainforest deer. The impish antlers that make them look like adorable little devils are real, but of course, there isn't an ounce of malice in this little guy. Deep in the cool rainforests of southern Chile and Argentina, he likes living as a ghost. So we're heading to Chiloé Island in Chile ourselves to see its majestic beauty up close. This is the Andean jungle pocket deer, the Pudu. Hi, I'm Danielle Dufault, and you're watching Animalogic. The Pudu is one of the cutest, if not the cutest animal on Earth. It looks like a perma baby, but despite its cartoonish doe-eyed cuteness, it's a surprisingly hardy survivor adapted to harsh rainforest ecosystems. So let's see why they're so tiny. This is not a baby. This is a full-grown man. Well, a full-grown Pudu. This deer is about 40 centimeters tall, 15 inches, and weighs about 12 kilograms, roughly the size of a beagle. Its cousin, the moose, the largest deer in the world, is about 5 times taller and 50 times heavier than the Pudu. It's a strange but wonderful family. There are 2 separate species called Pudu, the northern Pudu of the northern Andes and the southern Pudu of the Chilean rainforest. The northern Pudu is much more of a mystery and not much is known about it. So we'll focus on the southern Pudu and just call it the Pudu to keep it simple. The Pudu lives in one of the most unique places in the world. The Valdivian forest is a rainforest bound by Patagonian tundra to the south, the Andean mountains to the east, the Pacific Ocean to the west, and the Chilean matorral shrublands to the north. Animals in this forest have nowhere to escape to. It's essentially an island, and it has created an incredible amount of biodiversity. It's so isolated that 95% of amphibians, 90% of plants, 60% of birds, and 30% of mammals can't be found anywhere else. Some species, like the monito del monte, are so isolated from the rest of South America that they're more closely related to Australian species than to other South American organisms. That is wild. Wow. They're literal Gondwanan relics from a time when there was a land bridge between South America and Australia. So cool! Here on Animalogic, we love diving deep into how an organism affects its environment, like how the tiniest deer can reshape an entire ecosystem. But of course, no species has reshaped ecosystems as much as humans have. We have spent thousands of years building the world as we know it. But if it were to disappear one day, would you know how to rebuild it? Thankfully, we have a book that does exactly that. At first glance, the book, How to Rebuild Civilization, looks like a stunning 400-page guide to humanity. It's packed with knowledge about farming, medicine, science, even how to make tools and rebuild society from scratch. And you all know how much I love the combination of deep research and great art. So I was immediately hooked. Oh, wow. Wait, really? Every single page is illustrated in full color in this very classic line work, technical illustration style. And they are also going over it with like a watercolor. Ooh, animals! And then I noticed something amazing. Hidden among the pages are butterflies. Small illustrations that aren't just decoration. They're clues. Solve them and they lead you to a secret website. It's a book with Easter eggs. And that's only the beginning. Deeper in the book are even more challenging puzzles. Only 7 people in the world have solved the whole thing. 7! If you manage to finish, you don't just get bragging rights, you unlock a real reward and membership in a hidden group called the Order of Seekers. So whether you're a history buff, a puzzle genius, or just someone who appreciates beautiful, well-researched books, this isn't just something to read. It's a quest waiting for you to embark on. Click the link in the description to start your journey with the book. Pudus are one of these endemic species. Their populations are very genetically isolated too. The mountains and islands create natural barriers, and human settlements and forest fragmentation have separated populations even further. But even among those isolated populations, none is more genetically distinct than the Chiloé island Pudu. These Pudus lost their land bridge to the mainland over 200,000 years ago. Even though it's a gigantic, wet, cold, and rainy forest with lots of places to hide, this island gives us the best chance to see a wild Pudu. So we sent our South American correspondent, Andreas, to go to the Chiloé rainforest to get his feet wet and see if he can find any Pudus.
We're in Chiloé now. Look at that. Not beautiful? This is a beautiful, gigantic island that has all sorts of strange animals because it's very isolated. It has a lot of rain, has a lot of ocean life, and a lot of birds, and all that combines to create like this dense ecosystem.
If you're looking at an animal and trying to understand how it evolved to look and act like it does, it helps to know its daily life and routine problems. There are a few problems Pudus have to deal with on a daily basis living in this cold jungle. They have to navigate a maze of shrubs. They have to find the right food in an ocean of inedible plants. They have to stay warm despite being kinda damp all the time. And they have to stay away from predators like dogs, birds of prey, and wildcats. So let's take a look at how they do all that while staying as cute as a Chihuahua deer. To protect themselves from the kind of cold that gets in your bones, Pudus have coarse, hollow fur, like polar bears. The difference is that while polar bear fur has no pigmentation, the Pudus does. In the winter, when the leaves are brown and the sky is gray, their fur is dark brown. In the summer, when the sun's out and everything is bright, their fur gets reddish-brown to more easily camouflage with the vegetation. Babies also have those adorable polka dots that make them look like furry watermelons until they're about 3 months old. Or maybe like 8-bit low-res watermelons. They're so small. Pudus are notorious for having an incredibly long gestation period, at around 7 months. But the babies are born very well developed and ready to brave the jungle. In the winter, males lose their antlers, much like other deer species. But unlike other deer species, Pudus don't use their antlers to fight. Instead, they're just a sign of sexual maturity. It's basically their version of a giant beard, but, you know, very tiny. Their size is an adaptation for a life of hiding. They scurry along dense bushes and bamboo thickets, but to eat, they usually go to more open spaces, where softer and more delicious leaves grow. They're very selective with their diets and prefer to eat young leaves, sprouts of trees, fruits, and flowers. These outings into trails, or even just the side of the road, give us the best chance at running into a hungry Pudu. So let's see what Andres got.
We've been here for like 25 seconds, and we saw our first Pudu. Can't see it from here, but it's right there. Just sitting in those plants over there. So tiny. Super cute. It's a mama Pudu. What a baby Pudu.
The baby even approached him for a split second. Mission accomplished! So lucky to see a Pudu for that long, and to see them with a baby. Oh, what an absolute treat! And they also seem to be more chill than your average Pudu. After all, they have to watch out for predators everywhere they go. In these lands, the king of the cold jungle is the puma. Even the mightiest Pudu isn't much of a challenge for a Chilean cougar, which is much smaller than its North American cousins, but better adapted to dense forests. Straight line speed isn't much help because there aren't many natural straight trails in the jungle. So when the puma zigs, the Pudu zags. These quick bursts of lateral speed have helped the Pudu survive in an environment full of not only cougars, but also foxes, codcods, and horned owls. Pudu fawns. Oh, I'm sorry. It's so cute. I got distracted. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Pudu fawns are especially vulnerable to these predators. Sad. But once they reach adulthood, that's totally a word, they're relatively safe from their natural predators. Huge emphasis on the natural, though. There's an introduced species that is destroying Pudu populations. And it's actually a species very close to us. Dogs. That's right, our best friend is the Pudu's worst enemy. Dogs are brought into the Pudu's habitat for a number of reasons. Farmers have watchdogs to protect their crops. But the main threats are dogs brought over by poachers. According to the Regional Committee for Pudu Conservation, CRC Pudu, in central Chile, poachers use hunting dogs to sniff out hares, birds, and foxes to chase them and kill them. Fox hunters cause the most damage to the local wildlife because they use large groups of dogs that kill everything on their path. If their dogs catch a Pudu, the hunters often eat it right away as a nice treat. Since they see it as a source of food, they have no incentive to stop their dogs from killing Pudus. But just to clarify, these are not subsistence hunters. These are people who hunt animals for fun without any regard for the ecosystem. It's a sad situation, but it's not only caused by poachers. Even well-intentioned, dog-loving people can affect Pudus. People who keep their dogs outside and don't neuter them put Pudus at risk. Outside dogs and feral dogs will chase and eat Pudus given the chance. It's such a big problem for the Pudu that they're changing their lifestyle to avoid people and dogs. Naturally, Pudus are active during the day. But in areas with lots of humans and furry companions, they are moving towards a more crepuscular lifestyle, becoming more active at sunrise and sunset when there's the lowest chance of running into their three main predators: people, dogs, and pumas. People bringing unleashed dogs into parks and reserves is a massive problem too. These dogs can be fun and cuddly at home, but when their instinct kicks in, they'll chase Pudus and other wildlife, possibly costing them their lives. So please, if you have a dog, don't bring it to natural reserves or protected areas. They just don't belong there. And if you absolutely must bring it, please keep it on a leash at all times. Even if the dogs don't kill the Pudus, they might startle them and force them to abandon their fawns, or lead them to a busy road where there's lots of traffic, or into cattle farms where they can acquire diseases from the livestock. This is another huge issue Pudus are facing right now. Studies have shown that 20% of wild Pudus have antibodies from diseases acquired from cattle. Among captive Pudus, the number is even larger, at around 30%. And over a third of them had Toxoplasma gondii, which they get from domestic cats. Chlamydia abortus, a bacterium that causes cows to lose their babies, is also present in wild Pudus. Introduced red deer have brought new diseases from the northern hemisphere. All of this is a problem for both the Pudus and the cattle. The Pudus can become a natural reservoir for these bacteria and viruses, and make it harder to protect cattle from them. It's a stressful life for the Pudu, but they cope with it by having some of the lowest cortisol levels among deer. When they're chill, they're very chill. But at the first sign of danger, those levels spike incredibly quick, giving the Pudu an extra burst of energy to get to safety. All these threats, combined with deforestation, which breaks up their populations, have caused Pudus to become threatened with extinction. Even though they're the most common deer in the southern tip of South America, estimates put their total population at around 10,000. That sounds like a decent number, but a lot of their populations are isolated and declining. Lumber plantations, even though they're trees, don't have the dense underbrush to give pudus places to hide. Only 6% of their habitat is protected too, which puts them at risk, especially along the central valleys of Chile. Cars in these non-protected areas pose a huge danger for pudus. So, what to do? Quite simply, protecting their habitat and creating corridors between their populations is the main need. Controlling feral dogs and stopping domestic dogs from getting into their habitats is the other priority. Again, please keep your dogs away from protected areas. They don't know the damage they cause when they chase the local wildlife. So there you have it, the huge world of the tiniest deer. They're too cute to lose them, and protecting them protects the other wildlife in their ecosystem. So let's make sure they stick around for a long time. So, what should we talk about next? Please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for new episodes of Animalogic every week. Thanks for watching. See ya, and take care. But once they reach a pudu, a pududol, oh my words, that failed so hard. It's catastrophic. But once they reach apudulthood, a pudulthood,